topic is why stretching won't make you flexible, which when I, first saw this, I'm like, well, wait a second. A lot of us grew up, whether we did track or whatever we did in sports, was you always stretch before doing anything. You stretch because stretching is going to help you perform better. It's going to make you more flexible, and being more flexible helps you perform better. But, before we get into some really specific questions, I just want to put this out there. Brian, is it necessary? If you're not an athlete, if you've never been injured, you're not in some sort of rehabilitative program, you have no real health concerns, is it really necessary? And myself, as having trained and competed as a figure athlete for many years, even then, I was really bad at stretching. I just wanted to get in the gym, do my workout, and get out.
Yeah. So stretching, it is necessary. Just like everything else in life, drinking water, sleep, stress management, exercise, it is necessary. Now, I say that very lightly because there are situations where other things probably are of a higher priority than stretching.
Right.
But stretching should be one of those things that regardless if you're healthy, regardless if you're an athlete, regardless if you're old or young, you should still be incorporating some type of stretching protocol. It doesn't have to be lengthy. It doesn't have to be, in depth. It could be very surface level, but as long as you're incorporating some kind of stretching exercise or protocol in your daily routine, and I did say daily routine, right, you're going to see some incredible things happening to your body.
Okay. So stretching, yes, we should all be doing some form of stretching daily. But what exactly is, if stretching doesn't make you flexible, what exactly then is flexibility? And is it something that's good? Should we all be flexible?
Yeah. So flexibility, the definition is just flexibility is the range of motion in a joint or a group of joints, or the ability to move joints effectively through a complete range of motion. So stretching and flexibility are not the same. However, they kind of are the same. Mm-hmm. In order to become flexible, you have to apply certain stretching principles. And we're going to go over that, I know, in this podcast, because there is a lot of information about stretching and how to use it, why it's effective, and also talk about some mistakes that a lot of people commonly make. So flexibility is good. It is good to have flexibility. It's good to train flexibility, like I said a minute ago. There are so many benefits that can be achieved, and the length of your life and the quality of life will be improved if you have good flexibility.
When let's say somebody that has largely led a not a very active lifestyle, desk job, kind of sedentary, did things, but really never did any form of, whether it was stretching, flexibility training, mobility training, just didn't really do it. Is it too late for them to start in their 50s or 60s or after an injury, or is there still going to be benefit for adopting or making part of your lifestyle plan a sort of flexibility, mobility routine?
Yeah, everybody can benefit at any age. Healthy, unhealthy. There's always going to be some benefits. Yeah. It might not be as great, to an 80-year-old as it is to a 20-year-old practicing, some type of stretching their entire life.
Right.
The same thing with retirement. You're going to have more money in the bank
That's right.
at the end of your life if you start investing when you're 20 rather than 80.
Yes.
But you're still going to have
something,
a couple nickels in the bank, if you retire or start saving late. The same thing with stretching, same thing with strength training. It has a cumulative effect. So if you're late to the game, don't think that it's hopeless.
Right.
But just be prepared to not see great,
right,
I'm talking great things happening to your body.
So realistic expectation.
Realistic.
In terms of some change, but not,
Well, think about it. If you start stretching late in life,
right?
I'm saying 50, 60 years old and up.
Yeah.
You have a lot of time under your belt of a sedentary lifestyle. And if you've sat at a desk for 30 years, you have 30 years of wear and tear on that position of your body.
Right.
So in order to combat the damage that has been done from sitting, it might take another 30 years to get to a healthy state.
Right.
So I don't want to discourage you by any means. And again, everybody changes differently. Everybody adapts to the different stimulus differently. But the main thing is you have to at least incorporate it all the time,
Yes.
regardless of your age.
Move your body.
Yeah.
Move your
And
body.
that's why
folks.
I love saying that stretching doesn't make you flexible. Movement makes you flexible. So if you are 70 years old,
Yeah.
move.
Right.
You're going to see incredible things happening in your body just by moving.
Yes.
But
Yeah.
intentional movement, not just walking around the neighborhood.
Going to the fridge.
Yeah,
to get
yeah, that's good and all. That's good, but movement, like intentional movement.
Right.
You know, going through full ranges of motion, even though it might be limited, just from the aging process. Over time, the body's going to start saying, "Hey, brain, let me
Wake up.
let
Yeah,
me
wake
let me
these
do a
parts
little
up."
bit more than you're allowing me to do."
Right.
Because the body. There's two things within the body. They're called proprioceptors, the Golgi tendon organ
Right.
and the muscle spindle. These two regulate muscle stiffness, reflexive, what's the word? The stretch reflex. There we go. So these two proprioceptors are pretty much tell the brain what the body's doing, and vice versa. The brain tells this for what the muscle should do. If this doesn't fire efficiently, or if it's blocked, or if there's just delayed feedback, your body's not going to respond in an appropriate manner.
So what about you mentioned very briefly breathing earlier, and I do want you to talk about how that helps and impacts, because we tend to take our breathing and our breath for granted, because I mean that's a whole other topic in itself, all the benefits of breathing properly, breathing deep. But when it comes to our flexibility and training that, what's the impact of breathing? Because a lot of us, when we're exercising or moving, there's a tendency to start to breathe shallow or hold our breath, especially if we're kind of moving through something that's starting to hurt a little bit. There's that tension, we're not sure, so we hold our breath in a bit.
So I'm going to use a car analogy.
Okay.
Since you use one, I'm going to use one.
Okay.
So by default, most of us in Western civilization, with, technology and fast-paced environments, jobs and things like that, we operate in fourth or fifth gear, sometimes overdrive, just very high RPM, but that's not sustainable.
Yeah.
So when you breathe, you take that high RPM, again, that's not sustainable. Your car will break down if you're redlining it all the time, and that's what we do. But when you start breathing and going deeper into relaxation, your body is going to go back to a lower gear, which is sustainable. If you're in first gear or in neutral, that car can run as long as it has gas in it. It can run for forever. It's the chance of it breaking down is much less than it would be at redlining. So when you breathing has that effect on the body to take you from a very high stress position down to a steady, relaxing, restful state. And when you're in that resting state is when the body is the most pliable.